Welcome back to Let's Play Splatoon! Last time we continued through World 2, and this time we are going to finish World 2 with ease. With flying colors, you may say. Hardy har 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 har. So this is actually kind of a special stage as an Octa Striker. So this causes an Ink Strike. Ink Strikes are actually a special move, by the way, in multiplayer. This is actually the tutorial area, which is part of the reason why I didn't want to play the tutorial, because redundancies. So, yeah, this is very familiar if you played the tutorial, albeit way more dangerous for obvious reasons. Collecting everything here is kind of a pain since you're being consistently shot at. For obvious reasons, it's not the easiest thing. So I may not collect all the little power orbs. Again, it doesn't really matter because we'll have to replay stages anyway to get like 100% of all the upgrades. But yeah, Ink Strikes are always very telegraphed. I don't think this was actually in the practice version. And the secret scroll is right here. That's one I actually remembered. Unlike the last one. I remembered the last one, it's just I got really turned around, basically, in my defense. I think that was a one-hit kill if you get hit by it, so don't get hit by it. It's good for covering area too, so it's my preferred special move in multiplayer. So I usually like to go for loadouts that have the Ink Strike, regardless of weapon type, which is a problem I will get into a lot later for Splatoon. Anyway, we are actually at the end. I'm fairly certain. Up here, take out you, and if we do this, this is the end of the tutorial. This is actually a separate part. This dude is a mini boss, I want to say. Different ways you can go about doing this fight, basically. You just want to fight him quickly. Like that, bada bing, bada boom. I think you get full power-ups from all the enemies too, because I think it simultaneously kills all the enemies as well. So, without further ado, that is stage 9 down. That was actually really short. Like 2 minutes short. So that's good, that means we're making good time, and thus we can also do the boss this level. It seems some Octarians can assume humanoid form. These specimens have superior physical capabilities and are highly aggressive. High ranking of individuals have kelp on their heads, but what motivates them? That's a very good question. One thing I will go over later is that, basically, there are certain aspects of the multiplayer that aren't very good, and weapon selection is kind of one of them. But that's a story for another time. This boss is actually kind of difficult if you don't know what you're doing. AKA me right now, because I totally forgot how to fight this guy. To be completely honest, I don't actually remember how to do this fight. It's been about a year since I've actually played this. This is being recorded in July, mind you. Basically what you have to do is shoot the little... It looks like a sushi roll, to be honest. Not that I eat sushi, but it still looks like sushi roll. I mean, I don't need to have eaten sushi to know what sushi looks like, I suppose. And then he'll stop spinning. This boss is actually easier, I'd say, than the last one. Which feels a little bit strange to me to have an easier fight. But I guess I can't complain because, well, that means we'll get a lot done in the main game. The boss designs themselves are actually pretty cool. So yeah, this one now, he has a couple of those little things to shoot. The lower sections never turn, so you should be in good shape. Yeah, see, his whole window is a lot longer than the other boss. Not that we got to see that because I finished the fight so soon, but his window, his stun animation is a lot longer. It's a little bit disproportionate if you ask me. Also, by the way, every time you do damage, it's a checkpoint, so do not worry about that kind of thing. As long as you are, you know, not dying too often, you should be perfectly fine. Now I have to actually go behind him. Voila, and he is finished. Again, typically he stops rotating in a way so that his panel faces, his like non-grassy panel faces you, which makes the boss even more broken. It's not actually grass, it's kelp. Just saying. Well, actually this boss is kind of cute looking. I think it's the eyes. You kind of feel bad for killing it, to be honest, or at least I do. Another blueprint, and get all these and collect these zapfish. The Dreaded Octanozzle was the name of that level, and we have finished 2 boss fights, which is about a fifth of the way through, or 2/5. What's that sound? Cuttlefish. Lost radio, it must be broken. You're doing great, Agent 3. Don't let up. Yep. This area, not gonna lie, it kinda sucks. The next area is the most confusing to actually find the levels in order. So I'm contemplating actually not doing the levels in order for this, just kind of breaking sequence a little bit, because this area sucks for doing them in order. It takes a long time to actually find them, but I will find them on screen because I feel like it. Otherwise that'd be a very short video. We've only been playing for like, what, 5 minutes now? Probably at most. I'd have to turn around, which is not good when you're trying to commentate something. Turn away from your microphone. So this is number 11, so we'll be doing that one very shortly, but not immediately. So if I can shoot that, come on. Because if I can shoot that, I can actually get over to the other side a little bit more easily, like that. Voila, but it's a one way to activate it, but it's 2 ways in terms of actually going. Flutter Junkyard is actually kind of a tough level, not gonna lie. It's not too bad, but it's definitely sort of when the game starts to heat up a little bit, I suppose. Is there one in here? Okay, this is number 15. Not gonna do 2 UFO stages in one level. I mean, 2 UFO levels in one video. Sorry. That'd be rather redundant. And I'm blanking on where the other ones are. It seems to recall there being one earlier on than there actually is. There are a couple up here. The whole video is just gonna be finding the levels. I almost guarantee that. Just because it is kind of a difficult process, and I do wish they had kind of streamlined it a little bit more. 10. Okay, hey, finally we found the one we actually want to do. Because the last one was 9, so this is technically the next one. And I'll probably find 14 and 15 off screen for the sake of ease. Or 13 and 14, I think. So this is a heavy ink rail kind of level. So yeah, you can actually jump on ink rails, which is reminiscent of Super Mario Sunshine's wire jumping. You can also just press the R button to immediately come out of the thing, come off the rail, instead of having to manually jump every time. Okay, 2 guys here. I like how they have like goggles because they are technically wading in the ink. They're like stealth agents. Okay, this one is actually a pretty easy one, but it's also kind of difficult to remember. So I'm actually trying to make sure I don't accidentally rush through this level, because yeah, I do kind of miss this occasionally. Is it here? Is it here? No, it's actually the next one up. Okay. Just making sure. It's this one. Okay, so the way to get this particular power-up is to activate that and go around here and get the sunken scroll. It's a little bit cryptic, so yeah, I wanted to make sure that I didn't accidentally pass it up by accident. Okay. Got the little, they call them tanks, but they look like turrets to me, personally. Just a little observation. Also, if you do die before hitting a checkpoint, you actually lose the sunken scroll. So make sure you actually keep that in mind. So they actually give you 2 ink Zukas, which feels like overkill if you ask me. because they just absolutely tear through everything. Voila, piece of cake. But hey, at least we got bonus points. I'm not gonna use it because it's literally only 2 of them, so we will get a bonus score regardless. And this part's just kind of cool, aesthetically speaking, but it's really easy to navigate. Basically, it's kind of a cool ink rail system where you have to do a lot of like jumps, and if you do it well, it looks really cool. Like if you just go from rail to rail really quickly, it's actually pretty cool looking. Sadly, I'm not that good at this game. I would not consider myself to be that good at the game. Online, I'm only I think rank 20 on my main file. Actually less than 20, probably more like 13. I have 2 files, 2 Nintendo accounts to be more precise. I didn't want to get rid of all my progress, mostly. So yeah, I made a separate account for this game. And voila, we have gotten the, what is that, the 3rd one of the episode? Number 10? And we're approximately 11 minutes in, so we can easily get at least 2 more. Which is going to be number 11 and number 12, probably. With the creatures of the surface driven to extinction by rising sea levels, the ancient ancestors of the Inklings were free to haul their 10-legged bodies up onto the abandoned land. This is how the mollusk era began. So, that sort of implies that humans did actually live in this world at some point, but they just sort of like, you know, this is like many years in the future. I seem to have also heard Pikmin comparisons for this game. Also, by the way, this is considered one of the best levels by a lot of people because it actually has a really interesting gimmick of invisible platforms that you can make visible using ink. It's just kind of a cool little gimmick. I suppose you could call it a gimmick. Though gimmick tends to have a negative connotation, I don't see why, because it's like, if something's a gimmick, that doesn't inherently mean it's bad. It's also a good speedrunning level because you can actually do a lot of it without actually making the platforms visible, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually kind of cool if you can actually do this without making everything visible. Because these platforms are all here, basically, it's just you have to make them apparent if you want to be on the safe side. And I think this is where the, oops, sorry guy, you too. I think this is where the scroll is, but it's a little bit finicky, actually getting it. You have to shoot in like a very specific spot off the stage. Okay, there we go. And voila. You can actually jump from the ramp. If you're feeling really gutsy, you can actually just jump from the ramp, to the, where the scroll is. Because these platforms are still here, it's just you can't see where you're landing. I did that in my first playthrough, I never even knew those were there until much later. And here, you have to find a hidden passageway, and I'm having very bad luck at that. It's always a fixed location, by the way, so again, speedrunning is actually kind of cool. I don't know if they actually make a lot of platforms visible. I haven't seen a Splatoon speedrun in a very long time, so I'm not really up to speed on all the current speed tech, basically. Actually, I'm pretty sure they skipped this world, if I'm not mistaken. I think they skip it, because there's actually a clip where you can actually go out of bounds, and I think end up on, like, another world. Again, I haven't been following the Splatoon speedrunning community in a very long time. I was just kind of following it at launch, and then they kind of stopped playing Splatoon for a long time, so I really don't know a whole lot about what's going on with the game's community recently. So yeah, so here we actually have to turn. This level is also kind of nerve-wracking because you have so many enemies. Variations of the levels where you don't have the splatter shot, which are the amiibo challenges, actually can be a little bit tricky, depending on... Oh yeah, I'm nervous just watching. Can't blame ya, Captain Cuttlefish. So, doing this is the easiest way to get through there, because that makes the entire length of the platform visible. So that's cool. Just little details are really cool in this game. Armor doesn't really matter at this point. This is actually a little bit tricky because if you let the enemies get into a pattern, basically, of firing, you can basically have a very tiny window when you can actually attack. So basically, don't let them get an opportunity. And this part can be a little bit tricky because there's not a lot of room to actually shoot from, because you have to mostly be on the two platforms as far as I'm aware, and it's actually a little bit difficult transitioning back and forth between the lower and upper ground. It's a little bit tricky, not too bad. The fact that there are 3 of them is what makes this difficult. Okay, think that, and voila. I thought there was like a hidden octoling in this stage, but I guess not. I don't know if this mechanic comes back either, I don't remember. I think there might be another one sort of like this, but not quite. So that was stage 11. And I think we have time for stage 12. It shouldn't take too long. The Inkopolis Collection Fashion Show captures the hearts, minds, and wallets of these youth. That's an interesting point to actually make, because a lot of Nintendo games at this time were really focused on fashion, because Triforce also had a very fashion-focused theme to it. This level can take a very long time, depending on bad RNG, so hope for the best, prepare for the worst, as the saying goes. Basically, the gimmick is that these guys basically cover up ink, and they actually also will follow you if you get into their line of sight. So, obviously, the best thing to do is to have a line of sight. Oddly enough, we can actually see the Zapfish from here, but it's not that easy because we can't get that much height. We can't actually go on these platforms even. I know these guys come back for another stage that's really obnoxious, actually. Okay, I wasn't quite sure I was gonna make that jump, to be honest. Come on, there we go. This is the sunken scroll. That was easy, huh? But to actually progress, we have to go around. I'm gonna go around the long way just to be on the safe side. I don't have to, I just want to. Personal preference, I suppose you could call it that. Okay. Yeah, this level just takes forever, to be honest. It's not a great level, if you ask me. It's just okay. It's a cool mechanic, it just is a little bit, tedious, just because you don't really want to be in a position where you just sit around and which is actually weird because turn-based RPGs are a thing, which is an entire genre based on just sitting around, and yet for some reason there's also serious patience issues with like when you have to sit around otherwise in the game. So we need a key, but where the heck could that be? I did not mean for that to actually rhyme, by the way. Okay, take you out, and the key should be somewhere around here. Yes, it is. So there's definitely stuff up there, which is... oh, shoot. Problem, if you die, you actually have to redo a lot. So, yeah, we actually have to redo this part. Not too much, at least. It's not like the worst place to die during the actual parts with the little thingies. That's actually way, way worse because it actually takes a good amount of time. Having to redo the section where you're actually going through the little maze. More enemies, and we're, I think, at the final checkpoint, if I'm not mistaken. We're kind of running low on time, so I'm not sure, how this is gonna go. Basically, you have to find a key in a maze, and basically chasing this guy down, and then getting to the goal, which is actually very stressful. Because you have to be kind of looking down a lot, and that's not something I like to do in this game. And also, here, there are those little geyser things that allow you to get back up, after you get those, gems down there, or orbs down there, but because we're kind of pushing our time limit, we are just gonna go straight for the Zapfish. So that is number 12 down. We'll get the Sunken Scroll here really quickly. Let's see. The first battles of the Great War ended in victory for the Octarian forces. The diligent Octarians easily dominated the Inklings who were unable to wake up early enough. That sucks. But in any case, thank you for watching, and I hope you join me next time for more Splatoon.